Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another Sword of Convallaria video, and today we're going to do the ultimate reroll guide for Sword of Convallaria. Now, before we get into everything, there is good news on the reroll front and there is bad news on the reroll front. The good news is that guest accounts look to be a feature in this game. There's a screenshot that's been floating around Discords that shows a guest login button, which means you can play as a guest until you have an account that you want to like lock into your email address or lock into your Steam account, and that's really good news for rerollers. The bad news is I just made a new Steam account to play the trial to the point where you can reroll again, and it took about 9 minutes, just a little south of 9 minutes. So that's a long time for each rerolls, which means if you're somebody who's more comfortable with emulating the game on like BlueStacks or something like that, where you can have multiple guest account instances running at once, that might be the way to go. This video is not a guide for how to create BlueStacks accounts and have multiple instances running. That's a whole different thing. This is a reroll guide, but if you're comfortable with that or want to learn to be comfortable with that, you're probably going to have a better time rerolling in this game. And if you're not, I'm going to talk about how you don't really need to reroll, and in fact there's like really good ways to avoid rerolling. We'll get there in the course of this guide. Now, the first thing I want to mention, there is a newbie banner that's going to come out with this game. This is floating all over the internet. I'm not leaking any information here that's not publicly out there already. There's a newbie banner that after the first 30 pulls, you are guaranteed a legendary character. A lot of gacha games are doing this these days. You get like 20 some pulls, I think it's 21 pulls, just from logging in for the pre-registration rewards. So you're almost to hitting that newbie banner pity right when you start. I don't recommend re-rolling on that banner, however. Save that banner and let that be your second legendary character. Reroll on a different banner, get a legendary character there. That's going to be the main focus of this guide. Then go get yourself a second legendary character in only 30 more pulls from the new player banner. That's like the big value play. That's what you do if you want to reroll. Now, alternatively, again, if you're somebody who's comfortable playing 1, 2, or 3 accounts up to the point where you can hit pity on that newbie banner, there is an easy reroll method where you could just play like 4 accounts until you have enough currency to roll that newbie banner till you hit a legendary character, pick whichever one of those legendary characters you want, and move forward. That would at least save you from having to keep starting the process over and over again. But that is not the same amount of value you would get if you rolled on a separate banner and then went back to the newbie banner. We're aiming to get out of here with 2 legendary characters after we complete the newbie banner at least, or at least that's what a lot of rerollers are going for. Okay, now let's talk about the other banners that are going to be out on release and why you would want to reroll on them. First of all, our first banner that's like coming into the game as a new banner on release, or an introduction banner, what do they call it in this game? A debut banner, is going to be Gloria. This means a couple things. One, Gloria is not in the standard pool. So on that, like any sort of selector you buy or any sort of like standard banner pulls that you're doing, you can't get Gloria. The only way to get her is from her debut banner. This is a great reroll target. If you look at my tier list for a second, you'll see that I have her as a tier 0 character with Inanna. I think if you're rerolling, that is a phenomenal target if Gloria is somebody you want. You can go to her banner and just spend your rerolls there. Let me tell you about that banner a little bit though. Any legendary character you try to pull on a debut banner has a 50% chance. There's a 2% chance of pulling a legendary, right? So every time you pull, 2% chance of hitting a legendary. Every legendary you pull has a 50% chance of being the debut character, in this case, Gloria. Now, at 180 pulls, you hit hard pity and you're guaranteed the debut character. I had heard previously that there was no like hard pity in this game, and that's like, oh, that kind of sucks. But there is. It's 180 pulls, which is deep. That is deep in a banner. That's a hell of a pity. But if you get there, you do guarantee yourself Gloria. The pity does carry over from debut banner to debut banner. You are also guaranteed a legendary within the first 100 pulls. And again, it's that 180th pull that guarantees you the debut character. That banner is a great reroll target in my opinion. If you reroll until you hit that 2% chance to get Gloria, and then you win the 50-50, your account is off to an absolutely flying flying start, and anybody who wants to play Gloria and maybe like, focus on her faction to build teams around, because characters in this game do have buffs for playing with other characters from their same faction. I think that's a phenomenal way to go. That might be the way I go if I do decide to reroll. I'm still on the fence about it. Okay, the other type of banner I want to talk to you about is the Destined banners. Now, the Destined banners are banners that are in the game but have standard pool characters in them. I have seen conflicting information floating around about this, and it looks to me like we're going to have 2 or 1 Destined banner when the game comes out. I've seen screenshots of a Coal/Barrel banner as I look at like the notes of things that I've seen. I have Coal and Barrel both ranked very highly on a tier list, and if you didn't want to play Gloria, those are decent reroll targets. In fact, if you hit either one of those and all you cared about was power, Coal and Barrel, very powerful characters, that would be a decent banner to pull on. The benefit of pulling on that banner is it has the same % chance of hitting, oh, my light just turned off. That was weird. Anyway, it has the same % chance, 2%, of hitting a legendary character, but you have a 75-25 chance of hitting one of the featured characters. So with Gloria's banner, that debut banner, it's a 50-50. With the, like, let's say it is Coal and Barrel on the first Destined banner, you have a 75% chance of hitting one of those two. Now, you don't get to pick which one of those two. You'll just get one of them, but at least you have a really good shot at getting one of them. I do like that. And then once again, it's that 180 hard pity, where after 180 pulls on that banner, you are guaranteed at least one of them, but you'll probably get it before then because you do hit that first legendary pity at 100. And yeah, so if you're trying to reroll, I think that would be a good banner. Now, I've also seen screenshots floating around of a Nungal Garcia banner. Now, Nungal and Garcia, I have Garcia as like tier 1. Nungal, I mean, like, it's where, what do I have Nungal rated? Tier 0.5. That's a fine banner as well. I think those characters are good. So any of those 5 could be potential reroll targets. There is the standard banner in the game, but that's not the banner I would recommend rerolling on. I would look for that Gloria banner personally, or one of those 2 Destined banners. And I want to kind of wrap this video up with a last tip for people who don't want to reroll but are willing to spend just a little bit of money. On the Asian version of this game, and from what I've heard, it's going to be on the global version of this game, there is a legendary unit selector you can buy in game. I've heard it floated around that thing's going to run about $30. The benefit to that is you don't have to reroll. You can just play the game and pull on your newbie banner until you get your first legendary character. Then if it's not the exact one you wanted, you could go pick up that selector for 30 bucks and you have the character you wanted. The drawback, there's 2 real drawbacks to that approach. The first one is that it costs $30. In my opinion, and I have played through this game now, that I was able to receive a like demo version of the game from the devs, so shout out to them. They're allowing me to like play through the game once before it comes out. I can't tell you anything about like that version, and I don't know how that version like exactly syncs up, or like what beta version it is or anything like that, but I've gotten farther into the game than the demo will allow me. I would happily pay $30 to play this game. I would actually happily pay $50 or $60 to play this game, whatever the going price for a strategy RPG on Steam might be. In my opinion, that $30 is $30 very well spent, considering you're talking about like 180 hard pity for units that would be on banner. Having a $30 selector to start the game, big W, and that's a great way to go. The other drawback of that, though, is Gloria's not there. So if you want Gloria, you're pulling on her banner because she's a debut character. She's not yet in the standard pool. So I think Gloria will be a reroll target for a lot of people. They cannot take that $30 easy way out. They're going to have to grind out the reroll process, or just spend all of their pulls on that Gloria banner until they get her or hit pity, which, 180 pulls, you're talking about going deep into the game if you're dropping 180 pulls. I mean, I guess if you wanted to go the money route and get Gloria, you could just keep buying pulls, and some people will probably do that, especially if you're going for dupes of the character. So that's my reroll guide. We will see if any changes to that happen on live, but from everything I can tell, that's going to be the process. You're going to play through the tutorial, takes about 9 minutes. You'll come out with like 20 some summons at the end of that 9 minutes. throw them at your reroll banner, hope you get something, make multiple instances of the game if that's something you can do. And there it is, guys. That's the reroll strategy for Sword of Convallaria. I am going to think long. I do want Gloria, and I can't just buy her for 30 bucks. And I can't, like, I don't know, man. Inanna, pretty dang good too. It might depend on which faction I want to play in the game. So much more to talk about with this. That's the reroll guide. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day. I'll catch you next time. Peace.